Have you heard of neuroplasticity and how it relates to manifesting your dream life? If you haven't, then you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to explain to you what it is and how important it is. Now, I was listening to a podcast the other day and it was Lewis Howes' podcast. I'll leave a link to it in the text below. And it was with a neuroscientist whose name I can't remember, Dr. Tara something. You might have seen her. She is a neuroscientist at MIT in America. And she was explaining about neuroplasticity and manifestation. And she put it into some terms, used an analogy to explain how it works with manifestation, which was so perfect, it inspired me to make this video. Now, you've probably heard that your subconscious mind is about 95% of your whole mind. Now, that's a really, really, really high percentage. And your conscious mind is only about 5%. Now, what's the difference? So your conscious mind is where you consciously make a decision to do something. You make a decision to eat that ice cream, if you're like me, or you make that decision to go for a walk, or you make the decision to make a phone call. That's your conscious mind looking at a situation or wanting to solve a problem or reacting to some kind of feeling, and you decide to take action to fulfill that feeling or to do whatever it is that you want to do. Your subconscious mind is the rest of your mind, the 95%, where you're not actually consciously making a thought. Now, obviously, and quite logically, it's things like breathing, your heart beating, your blood flowing around your body, all the electrical impulses in your nerves, that kind of thing. But it's also the limiting beliefs that you hold inside your mind. Now, it's not your fault usually that you even have these limiting beliefs. It's usually other people's limiting beliefs about life and about money and about relationships and abundance and whatever the topic is that you struggle with. And those views and opinions have been put onto your subconscious mind over years and years of conditioning, usually from other people. You can usually trace it back to childhood, what the things that your parents said about money, the way that you saw what happened in your family home. So my good example, the limiting belief that I really had to break through was that you had to work hard for your money. Because what I saw as a child was my parents working hard all the time and us never really having any money. So even though it was drummed into me that you had to work hard for money, what I saw was that when you did that, you didn't actually get any money. So I perpetuated that stereotype into my 20s. Also, I heard things like, probably like yourself, money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. I couldn't afford to go on school trips because my parents couldn't pay for it. We were pretty poor, as standards go at the time. But these things basically layer themselves up in your subconscious mind so that you then accept them as truths. You think that that's true and you're not thinking about them. You're not consciously thinking about them. Now, when it comes to neuroplasticity, when it comes to manifestation and neuroplasticity, you know that you have to, or you can use something like affirmations to counter any negative or limiting beliefs that you might have. Now, let's say, for example, that you want to manifest more money in your life, but you perhaps don't think you're really deserving of wealth. You don't think perhaps that you're clever enough. You think that you don't have time to do it. You think that maybe your family are going to reject you if you're wealthy, whatever it might be. And you know that logically, all you need to do is to come up with an affirmation that counters that. So your affirmation might be, I choose to believe that I'm worthy and deserving of wealth and abundance. Putting choose in there is a very powerful way to trick your mind into accepting it, by the way. I choose to believe that I'm worthy and deserving of wealth and abundance. Now that's your conscious mind. You've consciously decided to repeat this affirmation, perhaps on a daily basis. If you're really into it, maybe 10 times a day, maybe 100 times a day, however many times you've dedicated yourself to saying that affirmation. And that's your conscious mind. Now this is where it gets interesting. Your subconscious mind is the part of your mind that you want to accept that affirmation as true. So it needs to accept that affirmation in order to negate that limiting belief that you have ingrained in your subconscious mind. And this is where this neuroscientist came in with her analogy, which really, really struck home for me. And this was it. She said, imagine your mind is a field, and every day you walk across that field from one side to the other. And it's a really big field, it's a massive field. If you think about how many experiences, how many thoughts, how many, 95% of that mind, and it's a massive, massive field. Let's say it's as big as a football field. And you walk every day across that field. Well, when you say that affirmation the first time and you walk across that field, and that trail across the field of footsteps is that affirmation, and you look back behind you, it's probably not going to be many footsteps that you can see. You won't really see that you've actually walked there at all. And let's say that you do that 10 times a day, and you walk up and down that field 10 times a day, which is saying that affirmation 10 times a day. After 2 or 3 days, you'll probably notice that there is an impression in the field. You'll be able to see where your footsteps were going up and down. Not a very deep impression, just noticeable, just visible. Now, if you were to maybe increase that to 20 times a day, saying that affirmation, going across that field, and you do that for a whole 30 days, at the end of 30 days, you're going to look back at the impression on that field, and it's probably going to be very, very noticeable. And that's your mind. And the more you walk across, back and across that mind, that field, and up and down the same path the whole time, the longer you do that, the deeper the impression is going to be, the more that affirmation is going to be accepted into your subconscious, and eventually it will become your new reality. You will believe it. You will believe that you are worthy and deserving of wealth and abundance, or whatever it is that affirmation might be. And that's how neuroplasticity works. Neuroplasticity is the furrows in the field from doing it over and over and over and over and over again. Now, you know this from driving, again, for example, or riding a bike. You know that every driving lesson you have, every hour of practice that you had driving a car was you putting that furrow in the field deeper and deeper and deeper until you didn't have to think about it driving a car. Of course, you have to pay attention to what's going on the road, but the actual process of driving that car is not something that you have to put too much conscious effort into. And it's exactly the same with affirmations. It's exactly the same with this neuroplasticity of putting new beliefs into your mind. Now, how does this affect manifestation? Well, in this way. Now, if you want to manifest more money into your life and you say to yourself repeatedly, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy for, 1,000 times a day for a year, it doesn't necessarily mean that money's going to fall out of the sky and you're going to suddenly be a billionaire. We know that that's not going to happen. But if you put yourself in that positive frame of mind, accepting that you are worthy of wealth, you are worthy of having more money in your life, then what happens is that your brain is going to be looking for the signs and the solutions to bring that wealth towards you. Because you're basically giving your brain a command. And if you've got that belief in your subconscious, then your subconscious mind is going to be automatically looking around you to find the solutions, the inspiration, the action steps that you need to take in order to take you towards your goal. Now, that's something that you won't, if it's in your subconscious mind, you're not going to have to be focusing on that. Your brain is going to do it for you. So it's not that money's going to fall from the sky. It's not that even you're going to win the lottery or something like that. It's actually that you're going to be more open to seeing what the steps and the signs that you need to take, because it takes action steps still. If you want to be wealthy, if you want to be abundant, if you want to attract a new love into your life, if you want a new house or a car or whatever it might be, you need to have the negative blinkers off so that you can see everything you need to see, and your subconscious mind will say, it will see it before your conscious mind does, oh, you need to go this way. And going that way, you might meet somebody who takes you to the next step of what you need to do. Or you might get an inspiration to buy a lottery ticket and you win the lottery. You never know. It's being open to the next step that you need to take. Now, you can take this as well into visualizations. If affirmations are your thing, then that's fine. If you prefer to do things visually, then also use that as well. The more you visualize the same thing over and over again, the more that your subconscious mind is going to accept that as truth. That's all you need to do. This is where meditation comes in. When you go into a meditative state, you're opening yourself up to new impressions. You're clearing that conscious mind, which has got all those silly thoughts that we tell ourselves that we're not worthy and we're not deserving. And you're opening yourself up to positive vibrations. We know that because we know that meditation is very healing. We've seen it in the modern mainstream medical world. Yoga and meditation have been used to help people with depression, with pain management, that kind of thing. We know that it opens us up to a more positive way of feeling, a more mindful way of feeling. So if you can use visualizations then to express and impress on your subconscious mind what it is that you would like to see in your reality, then again, you're going to be opening yourself, you're going to be taking off those blinkers so that your brain can see the action steps that it needs to take you towards what you visualized in your visualizations. Now, the final point on neuroplasticity, meditation, manifestation, and affirmations, and all this lovely juicy stuff is consistency is key. If you do it once, you go across that field, you're not going to notice. You do it 1,000 times, you're going to start to notice. You keep going, you keep going, you keep at it, and eventually your brain will accept it as a new reality. Now, it depends on the person how long that takes. On average, studies show that it takes an average of 66 days to impress a new habit on someone. Now, it could be much less for some, it could be a bit longer for others. For me, I'd say personally, it takes around about between 35 and 45 days for me to accept something as a new habit. And I do find, and I don't know if you're the same, if I stop one day, if I stop practicing for one day of something that I want to bring into a new habit in my life, that's it, it's gone. I have to restart the process again before I can accept it as a habit. I've noticed that with exercise, I've noticed that with healthy eating, I've noticed that with law of attraction stuff and manifestation and meditating. I need to do it consistently without dropping a single day for it to eventually then become my new reality. And it takes, as I say, between 35 and 45 days for that to occur. Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, depending on the topic, to be honest. We have to admit that money, for example, is a sticky point for most of us. And sometimes it takes a bit longer for the money affirmations, for the money to appear, because we've just got it so ingrained in us that money is something else, when all it is just energy. It's just energy, the same as everything else. That's my final point on neuroplasticity. Train it every day. Pick an affirmation that is going to be best for you. Do it every single day. Do it at least 100 times a day if you can. Set yourself a reminder in your phone so you can do it and you can keep being reminded of it. Put that vision board above your bed so that it can stimulate you and can inspire you every single day. I've got my affirmation as well on my vision board, so when I look up at night I can see it above my bed and it's the first thing I see first thing in the morning. Put it on your mirror in the bathroom, put it on the fridge, wherever it needs to be. Consistency over and over, and get that furrow in the field so that you can see it really deeply, get it into the subconscious mind, and watch how your life changes. See you again soon for another video.